Hey friends, what is good? I have 34 replies to the survey I launched about your experience with IFC, and I would like to go through it and see, to try to sum up some important things from here. I'm going to try to go quick through it, but there are still quite some replies, so it will take some time. So put your seatbelt for this, and I think for sure this might be worthwhile for you because you are going to learn about the most challenges people are facing when they work with IFC nowadays, and this should help you. This should provide you some guidance and some direction. Okay, so I don't have so many questions. I think I have 5 or 6, something like that, but there are 34 answers, so yeah, it will take some time. So what is your job title and what are your main responsibilities? Like who has answered to this? And we see a BIM lead, architect, instructor, and technical consultant, BIM Jesus, kidding, director and principal BIM consultant, chief data and digital officer, human-centric digital transformation of companies and projects, BIM consultant, associate director, civil engineering and BIM, BIM manager, digitalization implementation, BIM manager and owner, director, BIM director, implementation of BIM in organization while starting the cultural shift through practical use cases and the creation of tools, smart solutions that current software don't offer. Technician, HVAC residential designer, BIM manager, quantity surveyor, teacher and BIM coordinator, BIM consultant, BIM coordinator, model-based training, tendering, amazing. Responsible project BIM, I'm creating the ER, ensure data quality, developing procedures, I guess, some coordination, etc. Technical designer, ICT manager, BIM modeler, coordinator, BIM specialist, BIM developer. BIM developer, okay, interesting. This is an outliner. Most of the others are BIM users, BIM managers. But it's cool to see also people who develop tools for BIM. Architect and BIM manager, site engineer, VDC. Not very odd title. There are few of these in Norway and other places as well, so yeah. Customer success engineer, very interesting. So somebody representing some tools. Civil engineer, mainly responsible for project analysis and approval of usage of public funding in construction works of several types. Very, very cool to see also this background here. BIM modulator, BIM management and BIM coordination, BIM coordinator, managing the CDE and federated models, check the data in the models. BIM architect, IFC baker, owner consultant. I love it. I love it. Why? Because we have a very broad spectrum of stakeholders. And the most important thing, if I see here, a lot of BIM managers, owners, BIM directors, architects, and so on, BIM coordinators. Most of these people are decision makers. So it means that actually you can do something about this, okay? So very happy, very cool. It's cool to see also even from BIM developers to customer success managers to BIM modelers, BIM coordinators, BIM managers, BIM directors, owner, consultants, and all this. So amazing. Thank you very much for taking the time. By the way, you are the hero of this video. So I really appreciate you taking the time and replying to this. Now let's have a look and see what are the main tools that they are using. But yeah, like I said, it's extremely important to have this in mind. These people have a lot of responsibilities and they can change something, and I'm very happy for that. Cool, let's go. Revit, BIM Vision and Bonsai, very cool. Solibri, BIM Collab, ArchiCAD, Revit, Akka, and Visual Studio Code. Neat. PowerPoint, very interesting. This has to be a BIM director or something like that, or BIM consultant. Solibri, Civil 3D, ACC, Solibri Navisworks, Revit, BIM Collab, Nexus, Zoom, Sparkle, interesting, okay. BIM Collab, Simple BIM, Python, Abstract BIM, nice. Solibri, IFC OpenShell, BIM Collab, Bonsai, Recap. Of course, we see a lot of Revit, BIM Collab, Zoom, and Bonsai and IFC OpenShell comes up quite a lot, so I love it. BIM Collab, IFC OpenShell, Bonsai, Recap, Revit, Civil, Bonsai, AutoCAD, SketchUp, Bonsai, Trimble, Quadri, iTwin, AutoCAD LT, Blender, Geometry Nodes. Interesting. Bonsai, QGIS, Excel, Revit and Solibri. Revit, Civil 3D, Blender, Revit, Blender, i2. I think this tool is from Bentley. Collaborative platforms, BIM Collab, Zoom, Bonsai, Bexel Manager, Solibri. Very cool, very interesting. Revit, AutoCAD, Dalux, BIM Collab. Navisworks, DSite, Python, or IFC OpenShell. Revit, Blender, Solibri, StreamBIM, Bonsai, NanoCAD. Revit, BIM Collab, Visual Studio, Bonsai, SimpleBIM, ArchiCAD, Bonsai, Revit, DSite. No one has said Tekla structure so far, so not so many people involved with structural stuff here. Interesting. Revit, DSite, Navisworks, BIMvision, BIMQ, Solibri, Navisworks, Dalux, Revit, Navisworks, Revisto, Revit, Civil 3D, BIM Collab, Blender, Bonsai, Revit, Navisworks, BIM Collab, Zoom, BIMvision. Yeah, BIMvision too, a lot. So we see here a lot of people authoring with Revit and ArchiCAD. A lot of people coordinating using Navisworks and Solibri or BIM Collab Zoom or BIMvision or Bonsai. And using also Bonsai and IFC OpenShell either for validation, for fixing models or troubleshooting or for automation using IFC OpenShell stuff, right? BIMQ2, let's say BIMQ as well. And Civil 3D, also some Civil 3D people. Those who work with Civil 3D, I'll be very interested to hear if you manage to get any exports to IFC for X3. I'll be very interested to learn more about how that works. Yeah, but a very broad spectrum of users, which doesn't surprise me, but we see both. We see that these people are actually, most of them are using a lot IFC, given the tools that they are using. Some of them are just IFC viewers and so on, so that's very good. Now let's see which part of working with IFC models takes you the most time. Review and quality control, fixing locations. So now, let's see, review and quality control. Okay, this takes the most time. Okay, that's good. Fixing locations, coordinates, and cleaning up models from garbage, data geometry. Yeah, this should take some time actually. Yeah, not me, but my clients exporting from certain software. Yeah, properties, assigning the data properties to the element into the models. Okay, figuring out how each IFC is structured, where what properties are located, if and how bill of quantities codification is implemented. Exporting and setting up Revit, coordinating georeference point and teaching architects to make it correctly. Some guides, some videos could be very helpful. Instead of showing to each architect every time, I recommend to make some tutorials and some resources that you can easily share. Getting project teams to do the data validation, not just the presence of the data, also is that if the data content is correct. Yeah, you need, like, IDS would be perfect for this. And by the way, I see already many things where IDS could be the answer, but it has to be the people who understand what it means correct or not. Because if it's just a BIM coordinator dealing with different disciplines, he can't know that. It has to be the people from the disciplines. Bad export and wrong data or simply no data. Again, IDS is your gatekeeper for that, and that should help. I don't know if you get the models, so in case you get the models, I should have said here. So review and quality control. I think here IDS and IFC OpenShell could help a lot. I would love to hear more about this, to learn more about what exactly. Fixing locations, like this is not easy stuff, but yeah, this is georeferencing. Is always not so fun to deal with georeferencing, but Bonsai and IFC OpenShell are one of the best tools when it comes to this, so I hope you use them. Yeah, exporting. Yeah, this is not easy as well. Although it has become better, especially from Revit. And they are making it even easier if you are using ACC. So if you're using ACC, your life is going to get much easier, I guess, if that's not going to become an extra service that you have to pay for. Properties. Yeah, well, that's what, unfortunately, most of the time, this is not so standardized. So people are the consultants are deciding just to put everything in properties. But yeah, there are good examples out there that you can follow. Bane NOR, Statsbygg from Norway. You can start with that and brainstorm with the stakeholders that have to use the models about what they have to be. That has to be standardized, and then you create IDSs and you find a way that people are checking. Those who produce the models are checking, those who are checking the models are checking, and the clients in the end is checking as well. Assigning the data properties to elements into the models. Yeah, I guess this is not so easy. Figuring out how each, but with regards to this, there are a few aspects important here. Like, to make this easier, you of course have to use templates. You have to use the best possible tools. When I mean, you don't use just what Revit gives you. You can install the open source export to IFC plugins, which are by Autodesk, and you can find them on GitHub. So use the newest ones. Don't stick to their default IFC to X3 export. That's outdated. Try IFC4 X3. And once you standardize the information, and also once you do that, must understand a bit how IFC schema works, build some ideas to make sure that you can check the requirements every time when you export something. And once you have that understanding, it's going to make it easier for you, because you can, when you start modeling already, how you model, if you already understand what you have to deliver in IFC, your life is going to become much easier, because you are going to model with that in mind. So you don't just do it at the end. The worst thing is just to do data at the end, and that's not good. You can do actually exactly as you define geometry, the same way you can do with data. You can define from the beginning what properties, what information some walls have to have when you map them out, and if you start with that, then that's going to save you a lot of time and headaches. Figuring out how IFC is structured, what properties are located. Yeah, there is not so much training on this, but you can use ChatGPT and other tools. You can also join, of course, BIMvoice Academy and the BIMvoice Mastermind, where we cover and we have a lot of discussions and course and videos on proper practical IFC schema. This can be checked with IDS. If you can define what is good codification is, then you can check that immediately with IDS. You create IDS and you check, and you know for sure if you can count or not on that, right? That's a must for this. Exporting and setting up Revit, yeah, it takes time, I know. There's not much you can do unless you want to go and use ACC. I think that's going to make it easier, so that could be something. Or yeah, just master how to do it properly, prepare some templates, have some tutorials, some guidance on how to do it every time you do it. So documentation is very important. Georeferencing and teaching are, yeah, like georeferencing is a real advanced topic, which is unfortunately too much for many of us. Even me, like I don't know everything about georeferencing. I know very little actually. But I can make myself, I can work myself with and can find solutions, but it's a complex topic. It's not so easy. And the better documentation it is for the project, the easier it's going to be to work with that. Getting project teams to do the validation, not just the present of data, but also the content. Okay, like I mentioned this is extremely important, like getting the project teams to do that, that's not going to happen unless they have an incentive for that. And what do I mean with that? Either the client demands that in the contract, either there has to be some consequences if they don't deliver the quality. Because if they have to do that, in that case, you can actually use IDS for that again. IDS can be and should be created by the client for their requirements. But if they don't have the BIM resources, it's not bad even for you as a BIM modeler to create an IDS and to make sure that you are getting all the information that you want to send to your client. But there has to be some consequences. If it's nothing, if it's no stake in it, no one is going to do it just because you are saying so, right? And the modelers, I see the least willing to use IDS. And actually, I think they have to gain the most, to be honest, because they can save a lot of time for the client, for the project, if they get instant feedback if their model is good enough or not. Bad export and wrong data or simply no data. Again, IDS. Clarify with the client what are the data requirements, create IDSs, ask them to run the IDS before they send you something. Otherwise, you cannot approve their delivery. That's how it should be done. Making the poor work of others compliant. Oh yeah, if you have to modify this with Bonsai or IFC or Shell, it's a pain. Sometimes it's not even possible, sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not possible legally. So there are so many aspects here. The best idea is to try to get the best model out of the tool that you are working with, and then to try to improve with Bonsai, and for the small percentage to get it, to make it as good as possible. But yeah, like I have to know more about that. Making poor work of others complying. The lack of features and utilization of geonodes, which results in workarounds. I think this is in Blender, which unfortunately is not the connection between this and Bonsai yet. I'm not sure if it's ever going to be. Configuring and testing exports takes time. Modeling, get a good structure so that we can use the model for more than just collision control, for sure. Information, correct classification and attributes, of course. Like, I love it. Everything I see here are things that are core part in our training. So yeah, that's good. Exporting, setup IDS, data quality control, developing process. Yeah, like this is best. Like IDS and IFC OpenShell automations for whatever you want to do. Coordination, exporting IFCs from Revit. Yeah, it takes time and it's painful, I know. Parsing the IFC schema to extract the metadata, dealing with people behind the steering wheels of the native models. Yeah, well, I know that you can't do much about that. It has to be like responsibility. Like, this is something concrete. Maybe you don't even have to, like if they give you a good enough IFC model, if you have that requirement on your project, it shouldn't be a problem, right? But the problem is they don't even accept sometimes guidance to make a better export. So it has to be in the contract, something in the project that are some consequences. Modeling, a good translation from Revit, close source to a good IFC output. Again, tutorials, like there are no excuses anymore. IFC bad model quality, wrong values in wrong places, of course. This is a mess, I know. That's the most common. Correctly setting the custom-made translator to comply with project requirements. Extraction of quantities in an organized and efficient way. Okay. I guess this is also dependent on the quality of your model. If the model is bad, if the data is not structured well, if it's not present, then you have a problem. Data exporting, correctly attributing, data checking, export, classification, mapping, to understand what in the hell was the originator thinking when exporting, explaining how it works and why it's important. Well, you can avoid this if there are clear requirements. You don't have to understand anything, like you just have to have the requirements and they have to be in the model. And if they are not, then they are missing. So you have something, and yeah, like I like what I see. Everything we talk about here, everything I see is, it's very simple actually. Understand the basic concepts of the IFC schema, have good requirements that are using the IFC schema, not just smashing everything into custom property sets. Then learn how to export from Revit to IFC. Then learn how to validate everything with IDS to save a lot of time. Then fix the rest with Bonsai and IFC OpenShell. And if you want to learn that, well, you go to BIMvoice, click on Join BIMvoice Academy, watch this video and see why. Look, let me tell you, everything, right? IFC schema, practical IFC schema. Revit to IFC, exporting from Revit to IFC, IDS, and the IDS also, it's in this one, in Bonsai coordination. So everything we talked about, it's already here. Now, if you want to go crazy, we even have this IFC 4x3 bridge modeling and house modeling and drawings in Bonsai, okay? Like this is for native authoring in IFC, but for what most people talk about here, it's here in these courses. Like if you join this community for 1 or 2 months or 3 months, whatever, how many months you need, 1 year, let's say, you are going to save so much time. And that's the secret. It's not more complex than that. You have to understand what are good requirements if you can make any impact with this. But because you are decision maker, you are BIM manager, BIM director, and so on, you can do something about that, right? So you can recommend like, hey, what do you need all this garbage? We can do that and that and that and that. And you can convert everything like this in IDS, and then everyone can use IDS, or at least you, and can show that they are missing the data. And this way, like the first step, if you want for something to change, in everything we talk about here, IDS is going to be the most important tool. Why? Because it's going to show you black color, like red on your web page, that there is information missing. The biggest problem that is right now, we know that these models suck, but we cannot describe how bad they are. But if we use IDS, we translate the requirements into the IDS, and then we check and we get, and then we see and that we don't have material, that we don't have classification, we don't miss quantity, we miss quantities. What can we do with such models? And then it's easier to also explain to somebody else, right? So we need to do these things. Like that's why IDS, I think it's the most important thing that for every one of you who feel this is the most important tool that you can start using immediately. You can even, like, it doesn't even make any sense to go and learn how to export better from Revit because you don't know how to export better from Revit or what to export better. That's why first you have to understand how to use a simple IDS, which is very simple actually to learn. And in this process, you are also going to learn the basic stuff about IFC schema, and then you're going to know what you have to do. Then after that, you can go and learn how to export better from Revit. So this is extremely important also for everything what is going to happen, right? So when you receive or share an IFC model, what is the most common problem you see? Like that was where they are using the most time, right? So now lack of understanding about translation. Like I said, like we have training about practical IFC schema. Like you don't have to become a coder, an IFC schema guru, but we cover the basics so that you can understand and do your job better and be confident in the room, in any room where everyone talks about IFC. So you can provide some valuable feedback, some good guidance that can make a positive impact in the project that you work in the organization. Lack of correct, again, like this is not going to happen if we don't show it. Like the way that I see this, the only way that's going to, we have to highlight how bad these models are. No one will care about this. And we also, something extremely important, we also have to have a scope. A role for the IFC model has to be so much more important. If always IFC model is just thrown in there like something extra that no one really cares, the client is going to fix after the project is built, then it's going to be very little urgency for anyone involved to do something about that. On the other hand, if like you do it like in Norway, where the client says that I'm going to build this project model based, and that means that for structural, you have to send concrete models and reinforcement models and no drawings. If you don't get the correct models, then the pressure is on everyone, right? Because if you don't have all the information, you cannot build. If you cannot build, the constructor cannot build, then designer has a problem. The client can't get it delivered, right? So it's extremely important. Like if you change that, everything changes. And that's why in Norway, actually people are using IFC and treat it because it's the most important thing. You don't get a drawing with reinforcement anymore. You get only model. And then you have no choice. You have to put pressure on the designer, and the designer has no choice but to put all the information that is needed by the contractor and the client, because otherwise they are not doing their job and they don't get paid, right? So it's simple. If all these things are happening, then it's impossible to not succeed. But again, like that's what's happening. Like we have to invest the time and learn these things. There are no universities teaching IFC schema. We have to do it on our own to understand the basic concepts and then to use these tools that are going to make our lives easier. But the main problem I see IFC is seen as exactly what I said. Like this is exactly like it's just something on the top, like something like on the side, a side dish, right? Not the main dish, like in Norway. In Norway, you can't do it. You cannot. Like if you don't send a good model, then you get problems because the constructor cannot produce the reinforcement, cannot put it on site, and cannot cast the concrete. Survey point geolocation, georeferencing is not so nice to deal with, but we even have some workshops, and we have even some special videos specifically on this topic. It's not a full course, but there are some workshops and some videos on this. So yeah, a very important topic. Coordinates, the same. Two main issues: non-common site 0, the same geolocation. Default export, oh boy, this is the first mistake. Like everyone doing just clicking on the default button, export to IFC from Revit, then they don't know what they do, because you can't do anything, you can't get anything with that. That's shitty. So you have to go and custom these settings, and we cover that in this training. Meno makes an expert on this and working every day with Revit and Bonsai and IFC. He has a full course on this, and he's going to show you how to export to IFC4, IFC4X3, something like that, from Revit. So on top of that, in the community, you can also get help, right? You can get help here. You can ask questions and so on. So, yeah, sorry for the repeated marketing, but this is the solution. Like, there is a solution. If you are looking for excuses, you can go on and do that as long as you want. It's just an excuse. There are resources for this. So stop complaining, do something about that. There are few of the people who have answered here who are in my training, and they have saved time, they have changed their career, and they have made a big impact, and they are making a huge impact in their organizations because they have taken action, and you can do that as well. So you don't have excuses anymore. Like, you just go here and you do something. And by the way, let me say something. I changed something here. So right now, actually, the price is $90 a month. You might say that's a lot, but if you pay for 1 year, you get 40% discount. What do you think about that? 40% discount. So if you make a pledge for yourself and you make an investment for you for 1 year, in 1 year you can transform your life, your career, and the way you work in your work and your workflows. And this is with the courses, right? If you want to go even crazier and go and get even more support and make it quicker, then you can consider joining the BIMvoice Mastermind. But for that, you'll have to reach out to me and book a meeting and talk about it. But yeah, this is the starting point, and you get access to all these things that are covering exactly what we are talking about. Isn't this wonderful, guys? Isn't this wonderful? It's like I read your minds. It's like, that's how I created these resources. After speaking to hundreds, I think it was over 100 people I spoke to dozens of people, let's say, right? And now I see this confirmed again. One more time, I get the same confirmation that these are the main issues, and you have the solution. You just have to commit to want to implement it. If you don't, then can you show up with an excuse? I don't think so. Spatial decomposition problem, classes not included. Of course, no one cares about classes. Why an architect or a civil engineer or a structural engineer, should they classify a slab as an IFC slab, right? I'm wondering, like, this is rocket science, right? It's crazy. Why should we know what is an IFC building story in a IFC schema, right? No, it's too complex. Reference point, georeferencing, missing data, clashing. You see, here I like that people understand that the importance on data is extremely important. There are few who mentioned also clashes, which you can also do with Bonsai. But I love that the focus on data, and I love it. I love it because that's my focus as well. We have many tools, and we have a lot of chats about geometry. It's time to move on and try to give some respect to data as well. Missing data in part is okay. Bad extraction, export, I guess, and wrong data or simply no data. IDS is your savior, my friend. IDS, and we cover all that. I am going to save you, to help you to do that, but you have to show them how bad their model is. Just imagine you create an IDS, you learn how to do that, you create an IDS, and next time you get an IFC model, you send it to these guys and to show them, hey guys, look the information that is requested on this project, and look how much of it you meet, and look what's happening with the rest. Look how bad your models are. And you can do the same with the client. People are going to try to do something if they understand. That's one of the biggest issues. No one dares actually to look and see how bad their data is. They focus on what they have to do because they don't want to accept the reality. And reality is very red. If you look at the IDS tester, it's very red. That's it. Positioning, georeferencing, yeah. None, since I'm a pioneer. Well, my friend, kudos to you. Maybe you are even a student. But yeah, there are some very passionate people who have made a lot of progress with, and I think Bonsai and IFC OpenShell should definitely have some stuff in their workflows. Creator's model is not valid. or in accordance with IDS. Okay, good to hear you are doing IDS. Very good, well done. Is not valid. This is a big problem, and is mainly the problem of the tool that is exporting. You can use IFC OpenShell to troubleshoot this, I think. But I completely agree. The first thing you should do is to report this to your tool provider and tell them, hey guys, look, the Building Smart IFC validator says that your models created by your tool are not valid. That's the first thing I would do. None, okay, positioning, I only receive internal models, no noticeable issues. Yeah, I hope so, but like, how do you use these models internally? I guess mostly for geometrical coordination. Data, I don't think that it's very important here, maybe. I could be wrong. Georeferencing and zoning against construction. Again, georeferencing. We saw georeferencing a lot. That's great, because it's one thing that I didn't see in the first one. So yeah, we covered that. And I plan to improve this course because I see a lot of people struggle with this. No consistencies regarding, yeah. Okay, then again, a perfect use case for IDS. Poor data quality. IDS, my friend, IDS. Consistency of data. IDS. I'm going to repeat this. IDS. Aspect models, origins, not coordinated. Okay, for sure. So that's the georeferencing again. In this section, we see a lot of IDS and georeferencing issues. Not common, every time varies, missing data. Yes, perfect. IDS. Of course. Okay, this is interesting one. Yeah, the clients don't have BIM resources that understand the potential they can do, but yeah, you can't do much about that. So you're going to meet also clients who will want more, so you can show them the way. Lead by example, okay? Be a good example and teach them. People see it as another output. Exactly. Somebody else said the same, like I said also. Someone generated by pushing a button. Export from Revit to IFC. When you have to go in settings and configure that. Predefined type missing. This is extremely important. Somebody understands types. Yeah, they are not like very well supported by tools. So yeah. Types are extremely important. Wrongly classified. Welcome to my world. Everyone deals with this. I'm still to see a properly classified model. Wrongly defined IFC element assembly. Yeah, this is more advanced. But I like kind of the same. Many programs that is intended to receive the IFC have their own quirks, like needing elements to avoid a specific classification or its inability to import specific. Use others. Use Bonsai for free. And see exactly the IFC models as they are, because they are not going to be converted. The fact that BIM used for specific case was not taken into consideration when exporting was done, information not relevant, flood the model. Of course, IDS rules. And then if you cannot, like this is one of the first things that everyone learning how to export from Revit to IFC or ArchiCAD to IFC, they should not export anything else that just comes as trash, because every flooding information is going to make your model larger and unusable. So this is very bad practice. But if you can't do anything about that, you can remove that with Bonsai, but that's not recommended. You want that to be taken care. That's the easiest thing you can do at the export, not exporting everything. And that's what people with no experience are doing. They are exporting everything. Irregular layers or parameters. Yeah, information. Again, IDS. Correctly define. IDS, my friend, IDS. Oh, I'm going to make, so stay tuned, because yeah, like, again, like everyone who has problems with the data standardization, don't know how to require good requirements on their project, IFC requirements, how to check them and so on. This is the place for you to be. I'm telling you, like, these are the things that I'm doing every day. I'm helping people to succeed with these things, to define the requirements, to create IDSs, to check them, to learn how to export, and to fix their models if they have to. File size, of course, some things should be done before the files are exported. Unclassified objects, of course, IDS and Bonsai are better guidance for exporting. Very limited. For example, the bridge and the road all stored in one class. Yeah, not good. IFC for X3 works better with this and is quite good, but I still sucks for many tools. you have to use Bonsai for that, and I'm not sure if you're ready to do that. Lack of useful data and a lot of junk data. Again, the same, extremely important unstructured data. Oh my God, yeah, the same thing. So we see the same theme. Establish good requirements, learn what are good requirements, establish IDSs, learn how to export better or teach others how to export better, enforce the IDS use Bonsai IFC OpenShell to fix your models. And that's how you get good data. It's a lot, but you can get help in the BIMvoice Academy. How many hours? More people, like, wow, okay? Most people are saying between 1 and 3 hours. Almost 1 in 3 are saying like that more than 6 hours. And I think they are the most realistic ones, because I think here everyone else is too conservative. Is too conservative, everyone. But even here we have like a quarter, 3-6 hours. Very few think 1 hour. But I think this is very conservative. At least these two. Let's say maybe 3 to 6 hours. It's also realistic. But these two, I think they are too conservative, because this work, it's also difficult. Like you see the problem, but you are not aware of like what is the solution. And if when you go and try to implement a solution like that, it actually takes you much more than you think. But in the end, at least in the beginning, when you build the processes and the new workflows, and after that, then it should become easier. Okay, now we go to the last part of this. We have 30 replies here. But I think the same. Alignment between requirements, native properties, and IFC deliverable. IDS, my friend. IDS mirror the project requirements, check the IDS, and show it to everyone how bad your models are. Easy to automate. Input the model and reset the location and orientation via nice and friendly interface. Output the model. You can automate this without an interface, actually, using IFC OpenShell. We have a course on that, and you can learn also how to do that. Get people to understand the IFC is not just a model, but rather a standardization data structures for many use cases. Yeah, IFC schema. IFC, it's a schema that defines the entire built environment, not just a model or geometry. Metadata is extremely important. So yeah, we have that course, like I mentioned. Go here, practical IFC schema. Get people to understand adding additional properties and classifications. Well, Bonsai and IFC OpenShell are your tools for that, the best ones, and we teach them here in this training. Linking engineering data with the models. Don't want to keep all data in the models. I think I've seen this. I will not give your name, but I think I know who you are. You might be right, but setting something up like this is a very advanced, complex workflow could be. There are some tools who do something like this, I think. So maybe you could use a tool, but this is not so easy to deal with. Like, and even if you do it as an engineer, what do you do if a client still wants the information? So it's still better to just add all the information that is required by all the stakeholders on a project, from the designers to contractor and to the client. The client wants everything because they want to know what happened in the project and what they paid for. They want to have that documentation all the time. Better IFC exports from Revit without the need to user input. With better, I mean mainly more correct to the IFC schema. Yes, I love that, because it's one thing to smash everything in a pset, but use classifications, use attributes, use a pset, and so on. The second one, which is more difficult, split multi-material objects by their material layers, so that we can do something with each material separately. You can do something with each material separately with using IFC schema, I think. IFC OpenShell, I mean, and Bonsai. Bonsai shows you all the layers in a wall and treats that because the material has a layer with a thickness. Each layer has a thickness. So yeah, that's your friend here. I don't think we are like, if you want to have separate layers, that's going to make a lot of extra work for the architect and for engineers, and that would mean that we don't properly use the tools, to be honest. Because you want, like, when you create a wall, you want to define all the layers and then you just do it wherever you need. Just my 2 cents, to be honest. Not having to think about all the IFC checkpoints, authoring tools themselves. documentation. You have to build some guidance and then some templates, and yeah, you have to master this. Because if you do it once, twice, and so on, you build some tools, then you avoid to have to think about them. You just have a checklist that you go through every time you do it. And that should be something for you. And also an IDS to check, to validate that you have everything, you have gone through everything. Verifying the content of data, not just the present. Yes, you can do that with IDS. You can check. Now depends how far you want to go and who is this? Who is the person who has to check? I think this is more like for the disciplines. Like if you are MEP, if you are structural, you want to check the values if they are according to something. So it makes sense. For a general contractor, maybe they don't care, right? They care about the final product, how thick is the reinforcement, what is the diameter of the bar, and how they should produce it. I don't know, I need good works in IFC. I don't know, I need maybe extract all data organized to CSV or Excel to drive it out of IFC. You can do that already. That's very simple to do that with IFC CSV from Bonsai and IFC OpenShell. So that's very simple, but that's also like, yeah, you can do that. Let's stick there. Improve the current situation, which in my humble opinion are seldom fit purpose. Yeah, like I understand your frustration. As I mentioned, with that being said, there are already people who succeed, so you can also succeed. You just have to put in some time and build some processes around that. And you don't have to do it alone. I'm sure you have a team and you can work together. GeoNodes could be the main branch instead of Sverchok. Yeah, I can't help you much with that. Sverchok is another tool that, yeah, like the geometric nodes will, I don't think, they don't have anything to do with IFC, and I'm not sure if they ever will. When it comes to parametric stuff in IFC, it's at the model, at the object level, meaning that when you are modeling something, you can do it parametrically. And if you look at window or door, you have some parameters that you define very nicely, and you can get the door and the window that you want. So not much, unfortunately, like that. And to be honest, Sverchok, I think it's still very, very niche. Is far from being what it has to become popular. To be honest, it is there, but yeah, I think it's too limited for now. Modeling done internationally, yeah, exactly what I said. Like, in order to do that, you have to master the basic concepts of IFC schema. And if you learn a little bit how to create an ideas about the main things in IFC, what is a class, what is a property, what is an attribute, what is the difference between them, what is a relationship, spatial decomposition, quantity, and stuff like that, then this is going to serve you a lot. You are going to save a lot of time. You are going to become the go-to person, the openBIM person everyone goes to, and you are going to make a big impact in your company, projects, organization, and for your career as well. So yeah, you can learn all these things here in the BIMvoice Academy. Go to BIMvoice.com, watch the videos, click there, and decide if you would like to get in. Like I said, even for 1 month, you pay for 1 month and you see what you can do. Maybe in 1 month you have time to invest more and go through more courses. And yeah, if you cannot afford to stay, you learn something in 1 month. But yeah, like I said, I think most people get most value between 6 and 12 months because they are complex topics. So if you can make a commitment for 1 year, you get the time to get help to succeed with more things. Okay, that's kind of how it is. Cool. Modeling done intentionally. Nothing particular comes to mind. Okay, get models split into production zones without arguing. Well, you don't have to argue with consultants. If you are a client and they have to give you something, then you have to define the zones yourself. Otherwise, you can do it after that as you wish. You can do that with Bonsai rather easily, actually, and you avoid this. Otherwise, you put it in the contract and you define exactly how you want to have it. Auditing. IDS, my friend. IDS. I'm your friend to help you succeed with IDS. Just a desired standard that people want from the construction field. I'm not really sure what this means, but in Norway, we have like the people on site who use the things the models are defining the requirements, and they come as information in the models. So Maybe some examples from Norway could be helpful for this. I plan to cover some of this stuff in the near future. Data quality check, but need to include also some human checkups. Yeah, IDS and yeah, check stuff with Bonsai and IFC OpenShell. Clash detection, rule-based check for geometry. You can do that with many tools. You can even do that with IFC OpenShell, and you can automate that. So IFC OpenShell, you can do everything from geometry to information. If you want to learn that, you know where you can do that. The way IFCs are exported ought to be more controllable. IFC native file could be read or found that might help control and check the quality of the IFC in a better way. If the native file could be read. Yeah, the problem is designers and consultants are not going to share with you the template, their templates and so on. Everyone holds them and they think, yeah, so this is to be more controllable IDS. That's what you need. You need IDS, and to ask the designers to run an IDS after they export an IFC model, before they send it to you. They can run it and they can see how it is. If it's so bad, they know. You have to have this requirement. If they send you and you check and you ask them, hey guys, what happened here? Why did you send this? It's so easy actually. And maybe they are using tools that you don't have access to. So, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think they are willing to share that, but they have to share IFC models. Good structuring, yes. IDS helps you with that, and IDS helps you understand IFC schema and define proper IFC requirements, project requirements for IFC based on the IFC schema. That's going to help you. Live collaboration between BIM models. I'm not sure how to do that. IFC Git, it's one thing if you are using Bonsai, but I never use it, so it's more advanced. And this should be at tool level, I guess. I guess Revit has this live collaboration, and maybe even ArchiCAD and other tools, right? Textures with UVs and so on. I think IFC supports actually textures, to be honest, from IFC 4 upwards, I think. I could say something wrong. But you are never going to get like for visualizations and stuff like that. What you can do instead in Bonsai is actually convert an IFC model into a Blender model and then do renderings and everything you want as for visualization. That's what I would do. Designers should go to their authoring software settings so they can export. Exactly. Default factory settings are simply not good enough. Of course, this is rule. This is the first rule for everyone exporting IFC. If they stick to that, they don't know what they do, and they will never be able to export a proper IFC, because that's just too bad how it's set up by the tools. So you have to custom the settings. This is the first rule, extremely important. A small local program application specific AI that can converse with the program application to one-to-one to many or one-to-many for model referencing and exchange. Well, I think we are living a bit in the future here. We have other more urgent issues, but I don't see why this wouldn't be possible to happen at some point. Maybe you can build something like this. Having a very neat and concise IDS files, which would translate precisely our requirements, would give designers a tool to test their model during modeling, and would also allow us to check the received model against the IDS while file, and avoid wasting time in knowing in advance that the model has been reviewed before even starting the analysis. Perfect! I love it. What are you missing? You have to learn how to create an IDS. Go here. Go here, IDS 101, coordination for Bonsai for BIM coordinator. I have many classes on IDS myself, practical from like how to do it in a project, and Menno goes deeper into this course, IDS 101. So we are here to help you. You have the result, you have the answer, join or reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you to do that, to implement IDS on your projects in your company. Like, you have the answer, you are right, you are 100% right. That's what I have been doing for the past 2 years. Assuring no data loss and accurate geometry, this will help in automation as well, of course. For data loss, you can check with IDS, so you are sure 100% what is missing, and you can use for geometry IFC OpenShell. Exporting with correct attributes. Again, IDS can help you with that, and yeah, you have to learn how to properly export from Revit or whatever tool you are using. Classify the proxies, assign information to objects. Yes, never no proxies in the model. Clean and organize data for future reference use. Yeah, exactly. Like, IDS can help you with that again. Classification of Revit families with correct entities. Yeah, the same, like, but it's easier to do that when you have a clear understanding of the IFC schema. Okay, guys, thank you so much for hanging in with me until the end. For those who manage, I'm sure there are not many of you, but yeah, the same theme repeated all the time. Like I said, understand the basics of the IFC schema, create ideas, always use ideas. It's going to be the best tool that you are going to discover, no matter what you are doing. Learn how to export better from Revit, ArchiCAD, Tekla structures, whatever it is. Learn how to fix the rest with Bonsai, IFC OpenShell, and then that's how you deliver perfect IFC models, or as good as possible IFC models, compliant to your requirements of your project. That's it. If you want to learn how to do that, you know already the answer. Go to BIMvoice Academy, reach out to me, whatever. Like, I'm here to help you. I helped other people. If you don't know how, look here in this. Look here on the about page. Just read these things. Read these things, and especially watch this video with Oleg and this video with Nikki. They are not only. I'm going to have more videos soon about use cases, how people have changed their lives, their careers, because they learn these things and they become more confident, and they keep doing that because they keep learning. So yeah, again, thank you very much. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, petru@bimvoice.com, or on LinkedIn. I'm always very active there. And thank you very much again, one more time, for taking the time to participate into this. I want to also share something else with you, that I plan to make some videos about only some specific of these things, and try to showcase some solution to this. And I plan to, like, you didn't waste your time to use this, to whatever minutes you used to reply to this, because I plan to make some resources that I'm going to share with you. But again, like, this is not going to take you all the way. It's going to show you the power, and that's possible. If you want to go all the way, this is your answer. It's BIMvoice Academy or Bonsai Bootcamp. For each of them, you know where to find me. Again, thank you so much. I wish you all the best, and I'll catch you up in the next one. Bye.